people take their talents, abilities, and skills to the grave with them because of lack of courage. And courage is not the lack of fear. Courage is the willingness to do what it is you need to do in spite of the fear.
We all have 24 hours. So if you have a bad day, which is no such thing, dog, it doesn't exist. You had a bad moment and you were so immature that you let that moment dictate the rest of your day. Right? And let me tell you something. You don't know how many days you have. Like, I'm just going to keep it 100. You don't know how many days you have left. You don't want to be wasting days. You can't be playing with the days you have on foolishness. So you have to learn how to control yourself. You need to get control of your life. You do not have control. The problem with success, the average person doesn't think it's for them. That's the only thing that's stopping you from being really successful. The day you decide to become rich, the process starts in you. If you never decide to be rich, there is no process that gets started. That's how it works, man. Rich people ain't that smart. I'm telling you. They just know some of the principles of success. You just got to learn. It's hard, but it's for everybody. We're not going to overcome fear and live a powerful, victorious life if we're not disciplined in our thought life. That's where the main battle is taking place. Your mind is the bullseye of the enemy's target. If he can control your thoughts, he can control your whole life. If you don't guard your mind, it will default back to these thoughts of fear, worry, anxiety, negativity.
You know why I wake up every morning excited about life? It's not because everything around me is going right. It's because I have a vision for tomorrow. And the vision creates passion and ambition and drive.
Focus on something you want to do. That's important to you, not to anybody else. That's important to you. And every day you take action steps at the beginning of the year. Why? Because it's easy to become a victim of weapons of mass distractions. To be distracted, you miss some steps. Listen to me. This is how I got here. So when you find yourself thinking negative thoughts because of the weapons of mass distractions, let's say cancel that. See, we can't control the thoughts that come in our minds, but we can control the thoughts that we dwell on.
And some of you can show up when you're at home, when you go on the road, you struggle, meaning that when things are going the way you want, you cool, but when it rains, you got to grow up. Your body does not control you. When something negative happens in your life, you're giving it mad energy. When something good happens, you acting like it's supposed to happen. That's why your life messed up. Because you focus on the stuff that's wrong. You're not putting the same energy on what's right.
It's when I'm disappointed. It's when I'm defeated. It's when I find myself deep down in the dirt with my expectations not being met that I can actually lift my head up and I can start to look around the surroundings and discover where the mistakes took place. I can discover where are the gaps. I can discover how on earth can I get better? How can I grow? Don't complain about it. Choose to learn from it.
Like, listen to me. Like, you got to stop playing. So most of you, what happens is when everything is favorable, you a beast. Make sure you understand what I'm saying. When everything is favorable, meaning like whatever conditions you like, when those conditions are right, you a beast. But when the conditions ain't right, you get smacked in the face. You gotta grow up. You gotta be a morning person, afternoon person, night person. You gotta be a home person, on the road person. You gotta be when you feel good person, when you're sick person, when you're tired person.
I would rather aim for the stars and not hit them than to not aim at all. I would rather go after it and not get it than not go after it at all. I'd rather try and fail than not try at all. It's not strolling time. It's not walking time. It's not sightseeing time. It's running time. You gotta run after your destiny. You can't stroll after your destiny. You can't walk after your destiny. You gotta run.
That's the way the body is designed. You talk negative and your body does negative.
You talk negative, you get diseases. You talk negative, mentally certain things happen. I'm not stupid. I know how to talk negative. I was homeless too. My father wasn't in my life too. I've been in struggles too. But I've come to realize that when you think optimistically and you speak positively, you can speak those things which are not as though they were. You can say certain things out your mouth and make it happen. There's no secret. You are where you are because you focus on stuff you ain't got no business focusing on. You can't control that.
Because success is never an accident. And if you don't want it, get out of my way. Because there are some people who want to do something with their life who will run. I'm going to go for it, come hell or high water. I'm going after my destiny.
You have got to make a declaration and say, in spite of this, I'm in control here. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to let this destroy me. I'm coming back. And I'll be stronger and better because of it. You've got to be willing to go against the tide. You've got to be willing to harness your will. This is what you stand for. You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. You want it. And you're going to go all out to have it. I'm going to turn this situation around. I'm not going to sit back and moan and cry over what happened and what went wrong and who did what. I'm going to do something about this situation.
Keep going. Like, keep going. Don't quit. You're already in pain. You're already struggling. Like, get something for your pain. It doesn't make sense to go through pain and then not get nothing on the other side. So since you're already struggling, you're already going through it, get on the other side. You're going to catch the grapes. You got to get up at 3. You got to go to bed early. Don't lie to yourself. You are powerful, but you have some vices. The only way you're going to be successful is you got to discipline yourself.
Everything you're going through is preparing you for what you ask God for. You just got to quit tripping while you're in the process, because the process is necessary. Pull yourself together and quit tripping because you're in the process. Sometimes your life will be in a slump. I suggest to you that if you are facing a challenge, don't stop. Stay busy. Work your plan. Continue to do those things that you know that work for you after you have evaluated yourself in the situation.
Give up. Don't give up. Stay in it. Stay focused.
You've given it the best shot. You've had enough. You can stand down. You can back off. You can take a knee. You can rest now. Do not listen to that instinct. Do not listen. That instinct is a liar and wants to bring you down. Wants to give you an out. Wants to run to a little place to sit through. And that is the instinct you need to fight. You need to push back, to smash into the ground. Do not take the easy way out. Do not give up based on instinct. Get up. Go. Fight on. Don't allow your emotions to control you. We are emotional, but you want to begin to discipline your emotion. If you don't discipline and contain your emotions, they will use you. You can decide that you're going to change, that you're not going to be a wimp. You can decide that you're going to stand up to life. You can decide that I'm going to live each day as if it were my last. You have the power to make that decision. You can decide, I'm going to work on myself and develop myself. I'm going to empower me. And all of these things that are happening to me right now, they're just temporary inconveniences. They're not stronger than I am. I'm in charge here. Some of you have been convinced you're in a losing season right now because you feel very discombobulated on the inside. You're not so certain about certain things that are going on in your life right now. It is not a loss. In fact, it is a new level. You can endure almost anyhow.
So find out the reasons that you do what you do. Find out the reasons that will make you strong, that will make you walk by faith and not by sight, that will make you pursue your dream when everybody is against you or don't believe in you no more.
Taking responsibility for whatever happens to you. Knowing that you have consciously made the decisions that are now affecting you. Knowing that what is happening now, today, is the direct result of your activity, what you did yesterday. Self-reliance means counting on yourself, trusting yourself, being confident with yourself, being responsible to yourself, trusting your own instincts, trusting the conclusions that you have developed from your study of experiences and philosophies, taking the credit that is due you, learning from the mistakes that you have made.
And we hold on to this story that we kind of fabricate, we build in our lives that, about certain things. And that story is basically an excuse and a reason about why certain things didn't happen, why you weren't able to accomplish or do this. And maybe your story or your BS is, I didn't have the time, or I didn't have the money, or there was traffic, or this happened to me because of this person, my boss, my family member, my parents, my brother, my sister, the country, the economy, etc. Right? We have these things, these external things that we blame, and these excuses and reasons that we have.
Don't matter whose fault it is that something is broken, if it's your responsibility to fix it. For example, it's not somebody's fault if their father was an abusive alcoholic. But it's for damn sure their responsibility to figure out how they're going to deal with those traumas and try to make a life out of it.
Some people tend to blame others for their mistakes, blame others for their failures.
Now, what happens is every time that you do that, every time that you blame or you have an excuse or you BS yourself or have a story, you're giving away your power. You're basically giving away your power, and you have no ability to change what your current circumstance is. You have no power to change your life because you're putting it on something outside of yourself that you have no control over, right? You have no control of the external world in any way, right? You have influence at best, but you have 100% control over yourself, over your own mind, your own thoughts, your own actions, your own behaviors in your life. You have full control over that. You might be influenced by the outside world, but you're ultimately the person that decides everything in your life.
As long as we're pointing the finger and stuck in whose fault something is, we're jammed and trapped into victim mode. When you're in victim mode, you are stuck in suffering. Road to power is in taking responsibility. Your heart, your life, your happiness is your responsibility and your responsibility alone.
Now, my approach to my better future very early on in my career was to just go through the day with my fingers crossed. And I used to say something like, I sure hope things will change for the better. Then here's what I found out. They're not going to change. Somebody says, well then, how will my life ever change? Answer, when you change. When you change, when you get better, it'll get better. If you change, it'll all change. Don't put it on someone else. Hope that someone else will change it for you. Take responsibility for yourself. Take personal responsibility.
And, rule two, I talk to people about taking care of themselves like there's someone who they have responsibility for. And that's not a political issue too. It's an injunction to assuming that you have a certain intrinsic value, and that it's necessary for that value to manifest itself, for you to push yourself against the world, to challenge yourself, because otherwise what you're capable of won't manifest itself. It has to be developed. It has to be called forth by necessity, right? You have to pick a hard problem and try to solve it and push yourself against it and you have to try to do that truthfully and responsibly in order for what it is that you're intrinsically capable of and composed of to come to the forefront. And that seems like a very positive thing as far as I'm concerned, to encourage people to be responsible for themselves and for other people, and also to point out that
that you have a moral responsibility to do so for yourself just as you do for others. And I think that message has been very helpful to people. At least that's what they've told me. And it's predicated, the rule is predicated on the old Judeo-Christian idea, the oldest idea in some sense, that, that there's a relationship between logos, which is truthful speech and communication, and bringing things into being from chaotic potential. That's the idea that's put forward in Genesis. And also the idea that men and women alike are made in the image of God, which suggests that, like God, we have the capability of affecting potential, affecting the possible future, and turning it into the actual present, and that we do that, at least in part, as a consequence of our ethical choices. And then I'll give you one more example. Rule 10, which is be precise in your speech. I point out that tremendous, that the aims that you have in your life, the ethical aims, and those are the aims that direct your actions, also direct your perceptions. That this is true at a neurophysiological level, and that much of the way that the world manifests itself to you is a consequence of the structure of your ethics. So it's your ethical structure that's instantiated neurophysiologically that serves as an intermediary between the world of phenomena, let's say, objective phenomena, and your perception of that. And you see the world through an ethical lens. And one of the things that suggests, and I outlined this in Rule 6, is that if the world looks to you like a dismal and terrible place, and you're nihilistic and depressed and hopeless and all of that, I mean, there can be physiological reasons for that. You might be ill, but if it's a psychological issue, it's certainly possible that at least part of the reason that
All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a great Monday, right? Monday's favorite day of the week. We get to start new opportunities today and get to capitalize on our dreams and goals. And today's the day. What better day is there but today, right? So David Nieves here in Dallas, and pleasure to be here with every single one of you. We're going to be talking about doing Q&A. We're going to be talking about some skill sets on how you can duplicate your business and make capitalize on this opportunity that's right here with you. And I do have some slides I'm going to share with you in just a second, but I do want to share with you that as you are entering, I know we have a lot of new people. We have people that are just jumping on board. We have people that are might have some experience already. I want you guys to take this as if remember that for those of you that are seeing this and have already had some experience in this, I can tell you that repetition is the mother of learning, right? Repetition is the father of skill sets. And if you're not growing, you're absolutely going backwards. In fact, if you can have a skill set, and if you're not constantly refining that skill set, you can lose that skill set. Isn't it true that, have you ever played an instrument or know somebody that played an instrument and all of a sudden because of the fact that they didn't play that instrument for a while, they forgot how to play the instrument, they didn't became that good at it, or someone that speaks a language and they didn't practice that language. I know friends of mine that have learned a specific language all through college and high school, and because they came out of it, they did not put into practice, they lost a skill set. So for those of you that are seeing this, remember that. And for those of you that have never seen something like this, I want you guys to understand, give you a couple of things that will help you, because what we're going to talk about today is about a systematic approach in your business on how you can build an organization and really create duplication within your business. My mentor used to say to me, David, duplicate, don't complicate. That means that complexity is the enemy of execution. So you got to keep things very simple. So today we're going to talk about a simple way that you can follow a system. And by the way, following a proven system is key in anything. And and make no mistake that our industry, and definitely within GPS, we have a proven system in place that has been working and has created over $1 billion in sales, and has that and with a compensation plan that pays out nearly 50% of the commission. I mean, imagine when we're $1 billion company. Imagine when we're producing $1 billion, $2 billion. That means that we're going to be paying $500 million in commission. We're going to be paying $1 billion in commission. Can you imagine when the organization in GPS is being paid out $1 million in commission? I can imagine getting paid out $1 billion in commission for every single one of us. I mean, that's the future, and that's what's going to happen within GPS. We need to, all of us, be in that state of mindset of manifesting the future and manifesting things. I want you guys to imagine the organization getting paid $1 billion in commission, which it will happen within this company. And make no mistake, it will happen within the next 5 years. You're going to see $1 billion company. So I'm excited about this. So a couple of things that I do want to share with you, and just a little mindset before I go into the skill sets, is the fact that whenever you're going out there and setting something new, accomplishing something new, you got to be willing to sacrifice who you are today for who you're going to be in the future. In other words, you got to be willing to make some changes from within. Can we agree that for Jim Rohn has described this, that for things to change, we got to change. For things to get better, we have to get better. If you want something out there different, you got to do something different to change a behavior, to do things. You got to be first. You got to be that individual. You got to act as if you're that individual and embody that individual that takes the behavior and does the action. So everything that we do, all this training that we do is directed on that. It's directed on every single one of you becoming better and growing as an individual, so you can go out there and grow your business. So you can go through life. You can go through life afraid of making mistakes. So when you're sitting out here to do something new, hey, we're gonna make some mistakes, and it's okay. That's the process. It's the process of correcting. You know, persistence is actually. And I was listening to a martial artist. It was a great martial artist, one of the greatest martial artists of our era today in jiu-jitsu. He was talking about persistence. He says persistence is a mental game. Get this, persistence is a mental game. When he said that, the light bulb kicks in, because you got to realize that if you want to get from point A to point B, there's a process in between. That process requires readjusting and correcting mistakes. And the process reveals to you and me the corrections we have to make. That's persistence, staying within the process of correcting mistakes, and that the process will reveal to you, and then within those corrections, so you can then achieve your dreams and goals. So make no mistake that we are all within the process. And isn't it great thing to know that you're within the process with a team, with a winning team at that, with a winning team with the right attitude, with a winning team with a trajectory of winning, with a trajectory of creating results. Mr. Michael Ahn has created over $1 billion in sales, and I'm sure it's probably even more, but I over his point of his career. Mr. Danny Bay, the same thing. We have leaders in our organization that have the trajectory of winning and the trajectory of bringing other people with them. And I want you guys to get excited about that, because you're a part of a winning team. You're a part of a winning organization. You're a part of an organization that is setting out to do something great. There's nothing like this out there. There's no other company like this. We're not following a trail. We're going off trail and leaving a trail behind for other people to follow. And that's who you are. You're a pioneer. You're a visionary. And that's what made you be a part of GPS and run with us. And that's the identity of who we are. So let's talk about some of the skill sets that we need to accomplish. We do, and we're going to talk about the skill sets right now as I share my screen here. Okay, here's the first thing I want. Look, as we talk about skill sets, is that, and I'm going to run through this as fast as possible, but at the same time, this is being recorded. If you can take notes, take notes. If you can screenshot. If you're driving, please don't do none of that. just drive and go to work and do your thing. You'll come back to this later. But in the meantime, let's talk about some skill sets and some identifying. The first thing you have to identify whenever you're building this business, you got to identify what are the things that we do. What do we do? Because people are asking, so David, what do we do? How do I build this business? What do I do? Well, it's all about income producing activities. Income producing activities that produce income. Now, there's a lot of activities that you can do. Like, I love personal development, right? Here's one of my books and many others that I got all over my desk. That's not an income producing activity. That brings it builds me, but it doesn't directly build me making a list. That's not an income producing activity either. Me qualifying the list. That's not an income producing activity either. Me joining social clubs and talking, building relationships. That's not an income producing activity either. So there's a lot of things that we can do that are not income producing activity, but these are. What are they? Well, starting with one-on-one presentations, okay? Two-on-one presentations is an income producing activity. This actually brings in new business partners. Zoom presentations, which is we call PBRs, that stands for private business receptions, which we're gonna call PBRs from now on. Home meetings, that's a PBR, that's a private business reception. That have an income producing activity. Zoom recording, share and view, right? If I have a pre-recorded presentation, I copy paste and I send it to you, that's an income producing activity. A 3-minute video, share and view, right? We have a great 3-minute video, sharing that's an income producing. Demoing the product and acquire for a customer, that's an income producing activity that produces the customer. Launching someone into the business, helping them reach out to their first contacts, that's an income producing. 3-way calls or 3-way Zooms, that's an income producing activity as well. And promoting events, getting another person to an event, that's an income producing activity. These are the income producing activities that we focus on. And I'm gonna focus on 2 specifically here just now, but I want you guys to, because there's many ways that we can do this, but I wanna focus on efficiency. And I wanna focus on building this as fast as possible, if that's okay, right? You guys okay with building this fast? I hope you are. Okay, so now understanding, whenever you're getting started in the business, you gotta understand the difference between part-time and full-time. What's part-time? Part-time is 15, 20 hours a week. It's part-time. Just like a part-time job. It's a part-time business. Full-time, 40+ hours a week that you're working this. That's full-time. Just like a regular business, okay? Sometimes, we have to talk about this, so here we are. So let's talk about we're gonna focus on these 2 things. So today we're gonna focus on how to effectively run a Zoom private business reception and how to effectively run a home meeting PBR. So from now on, we're gonna call these a PBR, private business reception, for all of you. But we're gonna talk about effectiveness, because you gotta have a system. As you go out there and build an organization and build a business, you got to have a system to build it. Now, let me tell you that this is not the only 2 ways to do it. I showed you just 10, didn't I? 10 income producing activities, but we're going to focus on 2 because that's how much time we have. And I'm going to try to do this in the next 20, 25 minutes to then open it up for Q&A. So let's talk about how to effectively run a Zoom presentation, private business reception, and how to effectively run a home meeting PBR, and what you need to do in this. And there's 3 parts that we're gonna break this down in a PBR, in a Zoom PBR. Before, what happens before? So that means the count, because if you're gonna have a meeting, the count counts. How many people, getting people to your PBR is key, right? If you want to have a PBR, you gotta have people there. All right, I think that's good to know. Then during your culture, how you're gonna run the PBR. Okay, and then after, closing the room. When we're gonna break this down right now in extreme detail for every single one of you, where there's no questions unanswered. And if you do have questions, we'll open it up at the end anyways for this. Okay, so what happens before? Let's talk about this. Number 1, before you run the PBR, you gotta take 100% responsibility. That means if it's up to me, it's up to me. This is something new, but that's exciting. It's an exciting thing. And the view that you have to take it, because a lot of people are afraid to take action when they first get started. They go into mental momentum, and momentum. Can I tell you something? It's tiring. If you go on mental momentum, It is tiring to be a mental momento. After a week, you're like, woo, I'm exhausted, but you only show this business like one person. So you gotta take first personal responsibility. What's responsibility? That means ownership. That means that you have the ability to respond. That means that you will take action. And remember, this business is 80% energy, 20% skill. And people will be more impressed by the height of your enthusiasm and the depth of your knowledge. So it's about being excited. It's about having posture, creating urgency within your business. Strength of language is key. When you want to be able to, whenever you're inviting people to your PBR, you have to over invite. You gotta expect that if you invite, let's say 20 people, and you actually have 20 confirmations, people that are saying, hey, I'll be there, about 10 to 8 people will show up. That's just the way. You say, wait, David, why is that? Well, I don't know. That's just the way it is. You know, have you ever flaked on anybody? So if you have, probably, I'm gonna assume that everybody's yes, by the way. We all flaked on someone. And you know what? That's just, you can't get mad. That's just the way it is. That's just the numbers, the law of averages. It works every time. But you gotta be confident in your vision, because people follow confidence of vision. So number one, you got to have a vision for yourself. Before you're invited, you got to know where you're going. You got to say, hey, this is, you got to want something. You got to have desire. This is what Napoleon Hill says. The starting point of all achievement is a white hot burning desire. You got to know what you want. You got to know, and you got to be excited about it. So before the PBR, the mindset has to be there. The over inviting has to be accomplished. You got the confidence of the vision has to be there within you. And maybe this takes a time, but don't let it take too long. Don't let it take, again, if it takes too long, you go into mental momentum. It is better just to go energy, action. 80% of success in this industry is energy. I can't even, if you can remember anything that I'm saying right now, remember this: 80% of this business is energy, 20% is skill. It's about having the enthusiasm in it. So let's keep talking about that. So when you're inviting, let's say I'm inviting to my own PBR, my own Zoom reception, or a home meeting. Either way, let's say I'm inviting. I will say something like this, okay? And this is me. Now, there are many ways to invite, but this is me. Let's say, hey, hi, Vanessa, how are you during these times? Vanessa will say, I'm doing great, Dave. Hey, listen, are you currently working on any side business projects? She's like, no, I'm not. Listen, Vanessa, I'm launching the biggest business project of my life. Dealing in virtual reality. This is going to be the biggest thing I've ever done. Can you make yourself available tomorrow at 7 p.m. to go over the details? I'm looking, and trust me, you're going to want to see this. I'm looking for a few key people. That's it. Keep it simple and invite, and it's all about posture, enthusiasm, energy, and having that energy and the conviction of the vision. They said, David, can you tell me more about it? Any questions? Yes, we're gonna go over all the details during the business plan presentation. In the meantime, I can send you a 3-minute video. I don't mind that. Some people prefer not to do it, but if you have the confidence to send that, go ahead and send it. If you see that person maybe is a negative person, they're like, you know what, I don't want to show them everything because they might come to conclusions. Don't send it. You know your people that you're gonna invite better than we do. You know your own people. But if you feel like this person is a person you can pre-qualify, go ahead and do it. So, but this is something very simple, and there's many ways to invite. You can get to what the upline mentor, and your mentor can also help you different strategies how to invite. This is just a simple way to invite. You want to get people into the PBR Zoom. Here's what it is: the invitation is not the presentation. When I'm inviting, I'm not talking about 10 ways we get paid. I'm not talking about anything else, really. I'm more of a 30-second commercial, and the movie is the whole business plan that I'm going to share. But I don't spoil the movie. The movie is the movie. I hate when people spoil movies. It's one of my pet peeves, right? When someone tells me the ending of a good movie, I don't want nobody to tell me that. So I don't want to do it to anybody else. So don't do that. Be a commercial and let the commercial, 30-second commercial, bring you to the movie, okay? The more you give the movie, the less they have, the more of the movie you tell, the less of the movie they have to watch. They don't have to watch the movie, that's the case, because you already told it to them. But you want the movie, and it's all about energy, posture, enthusiasm. Let's keep talking. You see, during the presentation, when you're hosting this, as a host, you want to be early to your PBR, right? Whether is this a home PBR or a Zoom PBR, be early. Make sure you have good internet connection, especially if it's a Zoom PBR, and you are in a quiet place in your home to run your home-based business, right? You want to limit distractions, in other words. The less distractions you have, the better it is, especially if you have 10, 20 people and in a place, you're definitely want less distractions, because you want the focus to be really focused on what we're here to do, which is look at a business plan. As people are entering your PBR and Zoom, you want to welcome them. And give you an example how it will be. Okay, let's say I'm having a Zoom PBR now. For those of you that are just coming in, I see people coming in. PBR stands for Private Business Reception. Private Business Reception, which is a reception to explain, expose the business to other people to acquire business partners. Okay, that's as simple as I can put it. So as a host, during your PBR, there's a few things you want to welcome people. Okay, so let's say this is a PBR right now. I will say something like this. Let's say, I'll like the scripts afterwards. But the reason is to do this as people are entering your PBR Zoom. You want their camera turned on to see who is engaged and who's not during the Zoom, right? This will give you an idea of who are the most interested people to call first after the Zoom. So it will say something like this. A second, I want to be able to, here we go. Skip, there we go. That was my fault. Guys, let me go ahead and correct this. Hang on. Give me just a second, guys. My computer is all freezing now. All right, you see, it shut down there. Oh, all right, it kicked me off. Give me just a second. All right, it gives you. Okay. All right. Okay, we're back. Now we got this. We got us in the right place. That's what happens. It kicked me off, but I had to reopen. Okay, so during the PBR, you want to be able to welcome people, and you will say something like this, okay? And I'll give you what it says, okay? Something like this. Let's say I'm having somebody walk. This is my PBR right now, and I'm welcoming people. I would say, hey, welcome everybody. As people are coming in right now, my PBR, I'm letting them in from the waiting room, or I'm in a home meeting. Doesn't matter. Hey, welcome. I'm excited that you can make it here. We're gonna get started in the next 5 to 8 minutes. Let's make sure you can hear me. Turn on your camera, because I want to be able to see that pretty smile of yours, that great smile. And I want you to treat this as if it's just you and me having a personal conversation. You want to have something to take notes on. So Devin, welcome. Hey, Lori, welcome. Hey, Roger, glad you're here with us. And I'm welcoming people, right? You're keeping the energy up, Excuse me. So I'm welcoming people during the process. This is what's happening right now, okay? Your welcome message is one of the most important parts of your PBR Zoom, your PBR home or your Zoom. Your people will be attracted to your confidence, enthusiasm of your vision. So when I'm welcoming people to a PBR Zoom, or I'm letting this is what people are coming in. After I welcome people, we get started. It's time to get started. Okay, this is gonna be my welcome. I'm gonna open the meeting by saying a few words. So the first thing is you want to be able to have confidence, enthusiasm, and vision. But second, edification of your upline mentor is key. It's not about just saying, hey, this is Michael. Hey, Mike, take over, bro. No, don't do that, please. That's that one not to do. You don't want to say, hey, this is my boy Yuli. We go way back, man. Yuli's the coolest guy, man. No, don't do that either. You want to edify your presenter. You want to give them And it could be, it doesn't have to be complicated. It could be something as simple as say, hey, welcome everyone. I'm so excited for you all to be here. Oh, I want to share something real quick. And it says it right here. You can have this pre-written. Like, I'm a big fan of having things pre-written. And if you're afraid to have your welcoming message, pre-write it, go with your upline mentor, and you can read it. You can actually just read it and just say, and you can have it with you. And you know what? That's more real than just saying, hey guys, welcome. I got this thing that I got started. Mike, hey Yuli, Mike, Yuli, take over. You know, it's instead of saying that, it's better for you to have things pre-written and just read it. If you're in, let's say if I'm at home, and I have 20 people in my living room, I bring a 3x4 card and I'll read it. And if I'm in a Zoom presentation, I'll have it in front of me and I just read it. And I don't care if I'm reading. I say, hey, I wrote. You can even tell people, say, hey, I wrote a welcoming. I want to read to you guys something that I wrote from my heart. You can be authentic. People love authenticity, and your friends and family and people that you're talking to, authenticity is key. So you can write this and read it. You don't have to memorize it. You don't have to you can read it. Okay. So you can say something like, hey, welcome. I'm so excited to be here with all of you. As you know, I was owning 2 gyms in the past and 3 gyms in the past, and I got into an accident. I broke both my legs, ended up in a wheelchair. Now I was looking for my next business, and I'm looking for something to set my family up. This is my personal story. Share your story. As some of you might know, I've been looking for a business to run with so I can help others and pay for my daughter's education, have security, and a retirement for my parents. And I found something that has me completely blown away. You came to mind because of the person that you are. We're launching this project and we're looking for a few key people that can buy into this vision on building a big business, maybe even a multi-million-dollar business. We're using a business platform that's changing the face of home-based business and marketing. Hold all questions to the end. I want to introduce you to my business mentor, Mr. Ulysses Gonzalez. He's an entrepreneur with experience in creating results and a passion for helping others. I'm just lucky to have him as a business partner, guys. Pay really close attention to him. Be very respectful of his time, please, and value his time just like I do. Mr. Ulysses Gonzalez, the call is yours. Now, what a difference that would be versus me saying, hey, Yuli, take over. Hey, this is Yuli. He's in real estate. you see the difference? Now, let me tell you something. Imagine this. I want you to imagine you being in Zoom and someone says that to you. Your friend says something like this to you. What do you do then? You're like, darn, this thing is, wow, man, Devin is real. This thing is serious. Let me pay attention. Because I've never seen Lori this way. I've never seen, they go like this and they're interested because they see something different. They can tell. So during the presentation, make sure your camera's on. If you're sitting, you got to be sitting in front of with your camera, engage. You got to be the person with a pen and notepad and like this. And engage. Remember, your people will be able to see you. If you look engaged in the Zoom, they will do the same. If you're standing up and multitasking, they will do the same. Multitasking during your PBR takes away from the importance of the vision you want them to follow you on. If you hear background noise during the PBR Zoom, find out who's not muted and mute them. Very, very simple. All right, guys, what I'm giving you right now is I hope it's not too much for the new people. I don't know if Mr. On is here right now, but I hope it's not too much. I hope I'm okay giving you this type of information. All right, so what happens after? Let's talk about after. After, your mentor will pass it back to you for final words. This is the time, get this, for you to display confidence, urgency, and vision. And again, you can have this written down. Like you can have it written down and say, hey guys, I wrote something that I want to read to you guys. Again, from my heart, because I'm excited about this business. And then you can read whatever it is you're down. And I will write down, this is what if I was me, this is what I would say, something like this, okay, with a lot of confidence. And I would say, and I will close, I would say, again, if I'm reading this, I just read it. And it's simple because I would simply say, wow, thank you so much, Mr. Ulysses Gonzalez, for that amazing explanation. Guys, you can see why I'm so excited. This company is on the path of explosive growth, and I want you all to partner with me. I called you for a reason, and the fact that you're seeing this, no accident. As you saw in the overview, I have 2 top spots where we will be building $1 million business from, and the first people that partner up will get those spots, and we will help you build your business. But you have to jump on board right now, because we're having another meeting for everyone else. However, I want you to see this first before I call my other contacts. Thank you so much. I'm gonna be calling all of you after this to answer any questions and helping those of you that are ready to get started right now. Simple. That's a closing statement. Boom. And that gives you your intent too. I want you guys to partner with me. I want to do this with you. I invited you here because I want you to partner with me and Mr. Ulysses Gonzalez, and we're gonna do some great things together. That's the type of attitude and confidence and you have to display. Okay, so I end the webinar and follow up individual with each person. Then your questions, when you follow up, you're not gonna ask, hey, what do you think? Simple. You ask, hey, what did you like most? Hey, Devin, what did you like most? Hey, Brian, what did you like most? Hey, Lori, what did you like most? And she's there, like Lori's like, man, I like the money part, man. The money's good, isn't it? Do you see an opportunity for yourself to make money and partner up with us? They're like, yeah, I do. Excellent. That's it. Now we say, hey, when are you ready to get started? Can we get you started right now? Are you ready to get started right now? And they're like, yes. And then you can schedule a follow-up meeting with the people that have questions with your mentors. People say, I have a few questions. No worries. Let me see if I can get my mentor right now, Mr. Ulysses Gonzalez, so he can answer your questions. And when the next thing is, we want to promote the next event. Once they whatever it is, whether they say I have questions or they're ready, I'm not ready, or I'm ready to get started, promoting the next event. That could be the 7 p.m. presentation. It could be definitely Saturday training, and promoting the next event. And you want to be able to track your numbers, right? That's very important. When you do a PBR, you track your numbers, and that's it. Success. I hope this is simple. I think this is pretty simple to run. But I want to be able to get any questions on this right now. And again, I did this in record time. It's 10:30. I'm happy to be able to do this in record time and explain to you some of the technical things that we're applying, that we can apply, some of the business strategies that we apply. So we build systematically within a Zoom presentation or home presentation. Again, this is just 2 ways of 10 different ways that we can expose the business and show the business. But I like this the way, because I can show the business to 10, 20 people at the same time. You want to build this fast. You want to create massive exposures in a condensed length of time, and showing this to 20 people in 1 hour is much faster than showing this to 20 people 1 hour at a time. I hope this makes sense to every single one of you. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go ahead and for those of you that have any question, go ahead and raise your hand, and we can unmute you. And I would love to answer any questions on what we're talking about right here, or any objections, right? I didn't cover objections, but I can certainly, I don't mind if you guys want to give me some objections, give them to me. I'll answer any objections you have, and I'll be happy to make that happen too as well. Any objections, anything you have heard so far, and maybe they told you it's a pyramid, maybe they told you it's not for me, maybe they told you whatever it is, you can give it to me right now. This is your chance to do it. I will answer any objection, any questions, or anything on this at this very moment for all of you. Let me see if there's no questions in the chat. Any questions you guys have at the moment? All right. I don't know if Mr. On or Mr. Mark Isaac is on that wants to add anything to what I've said. Oh, I see somebody, Miss Lori. Okay, Lori, yes.
Okay, so let me lower my hand. Okay, so I'm getting ready to demo, and people that are very successful. So when people say, well, I'm really, really interested, I want a part of this, but it's not a publicly traded company, is what I heard yesterday. So these are high powered people that are very busy and they trade stocks.
Wonderful.
And things like that. So what would be an approach for them to, as they're going to be looking at the product, I'm going to be demoing them in person later on this week. So I know that's going to come up because it already came up yesterday.
Wonderful. So first thing is I want to relate with people, let them know that I'm not, that I know where they're coming from. So I like feel, felt, found. Feel, felt, found, right? Lori, yeah, I mean, I know how you feel. I felt the same way. You know, when I saw this was not a publicly traded company, I said, maybe why they're not publicly traded. I mean, there's something they have to hide. But then what I found is that this industry right here, they want to cater to the influencers, and that's the main priority. When you have a publicly traded company, the main priority is the shareholders, not the influencers. Now, what's better right here is to give more money and more catering to the influencers and help them out versus in the other way. It will be that we have to cater that, first of all, the shareholders and then the influencers, if we want to keep our people first. So feel, felt, found, and you can give that an answer like that. Any more questions?
I love feel, felt, found.
Yeah. Hey, it puts you in the other side of them. Joe said there's only a few market share companies that have IPO. Yeah, there's a few market. Most companies that go IPOs, by the way, are big companies already. You know, I believe like, you know, the big ones. They've been around for 30, 40 years. Those are the companies that start going public because after 30, 40 years, everybody knows about it. So now they got to make more money, right? So now they go public afterwards. But in the beginning, it's a bad idea to be an IPO in this industry. Because you have to cater to the shareholders versus catering to the influencers in this case. But great question, Lori. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Don't be shy. Don't be shy at all. Listen, maybe you're, I'm going to give you some problems. Maybe you're battling lack of consistency. Maybe you're battling the emotional roller coaster up and down, right? The emotional roller coaster of up and down keeps you away from the lack of consistency. Maybe you're battling fear of reaching out to other people. Maybe you're battling the confidence issue of reaching out to other people. Whatever issue you have, my friends, I promise you someone is having that issue, and by asking that question, you will be helping not only yourself, but you'll be helping other people as well. So don't be shy. Every question is warranted. And we want questions here, and this is an opportunity for you guys to ask any questions you want, and any of the matters that we're having within our company. All right, Mr. Gabriel.
Oh, there you go. Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, Dave, you covered a lot. I'm at work right now, so pardon me for the background noise. As a technician, I'm at work 10 to 11 hours a day.
It's not too bad. Go ahead.
So I'm really not able to chime in too much, but I try to absorb everything you said. And a lot of what you said earlier, or basically throughout the last couple months, has been everything I've been experiencing. You know, trying to build confidence to build this business, and I haven't been able to find the right time to reach out to folks. It's either everybody's busy throughout the day, that I know. Everybody works 9 to 5. they're getting their butts kicked throughout the day. And so when we get home from work, I'm too tired. I don't want to use that as an excuse. But when I reach out to when I reach out to family or friends or whatever, and I try to talk to them about this, they're too tired. And then they're all like, well, reach out to me later. And when I try to reach back out to them later concerning this, they're all like, well, I really don't have time for it. And so when I get those kind of rejections, like you said, it shouldn't really stumble me. It should inspire me to work harder and reach out to other folks.
How often are you getting the same response? Is this something that one or two people are saying, or is this something that the same response is coming over and over and over again over a period of numbers of 5, 10, 20, 30 people?
It was probably about 10 to 12 people. And I think it's the way I'm delivering it that's kind of deterring them from wanting to show any kind of interest. So I think it's me, to say the truth. So these scripts are helping me a lot, to tell you the truth.
Also, I smile because I come to a lot of realizations a lot. That projection is perception, right? People's projection is perception is what I project, right? It's like sometimes you get in. I joke around. Sometimes you get in a relationship, right? And they're like, "Oh man, you're projecting," so is the same thing with this business. So I there's different strategies, and this is something that probably we can talk about, me and you. And in fact, I know we have an appointment today to talk about things. So it's something that I'll write down to talk about it. Different strategies how to reach out, because if one way of reaching out is not working, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So you wanna again. I go back to what I said in the beginning of the conversation here. What I said in the beginning was, let's say I want to get from point A to point B. Well, from point A to point B, there's a process, and that process reveals to me the corrections I have to make in order for me to get to point B. And because there's always corrections, there's always going to be something that I have to adjust to get to point A to point B. That's how winning is done in anything in life. So we just got to look at what corrections we have to make. I can tell you from what I know of you, brother, you're not far away. There's a couple of tweaks that you probably have to make to have that breakthrough, but your breakthrough is just around the corner from after those tweaks. We just got to find out what corrections we have to make and how to approach people effectively for your market. So, and we'll dig more into that. Me and you, because there's 3-way calls. There's ways of there's an approach of having having taken the light away from you. That's one of my favorite things that I used to do. When I was working at a bar, I'm here working at a bartender, and I'm in the bar life for many years. Partying, getting acting a fool many nights, and then I'm about to talk to some friends about a serious business. Something that I had to do was one of the things I had to do, I had to talk about in my mentor and someone else. I said, hey guys, so let's say if I was reaching out to you and I was like, hey Gabriel, I met a very successful entrepreneur. He's expanding a huge company out here. He is, you know what I'm saying? He's expanding a huge company out here in the VR department and in the VR space. And there's a huge opportunity for us to make some money with this in partnership with TCL and Sony with some technology. I have contacted this guy. I want to be able to sit down with this guy and talk to him. Do you have 5 minutes or 10 minutes that we can talk to him? And now I put it all on that individual. I put it all about that. It is something that a contact, a hookup, you know what I mean, that I have now with that individual. And that helped me in reaching out to some people versus saying, hey, I'm launching my own business. And they're like, David, you're a bartender. What do you know? Or David, I'm busy, because they didn't take me seriously because I didn't have the trajectory of a business launcher, of a multi-million-dollar business launcher, very successful individual, right? So they saw the business from a lens of who I am as my trajectory, and my trajectory has not been a multi-millionaire entrepreneur or multi-millionaire network marketer. Because I promise you this, if Elon Musk was to call those people and say, hey, I have a business project I want to talk to you about, everybody drops whatever they're doing. Oh yeah, I have time. Oh, I just worked 16 hours today, but not to worry. I got all the energy in the world. I work 18 hours. Elon, tell me about it. Why? Because of who he is, right? So it's not necessarily that they're tired. Is the fact that they don't see the value yet on the opportunity and what can do for them, so we have to package it and deliver it in a different way for them to be open for the opportunity. I hope this makes sense.
It made a lot of sense. Appreciate you, brother. Love you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I have a couple of questions here by Cameron. Said, what will you do if you were in a warm market and if you did not sponsor one of your family members and friends? There are two types of market out there, right? You have the warm market. The warm market is great to have, being able to have that market, right, where you have that your initial warm market, right? This I call them the circle of influence, right? Circle of influence. Those are the people that are your close friends, your best friends, your family, close family member. Those people are your circle of influence. So now what you have to do, you have to go outside your circle of influence. And this is more of your circle of development, I would call it, where you have to develop a little more relationship. These are long distance friends, ex-coworkers, ex-classmates, long distance relatives. Who else? Guys that friends on Facebook that they like your pictures, they constantly comment on your pictures. So now you have to go in that circle. And can I tell you something? That's the circle that made me my first $1 million in this industry. It wasn't my friends and family. My friends and family got me started, probably got me promoted to the first promotions. But it was not until I left that circle and went to the circle of development that I started then where my fortune was built. And because when I went outside that market, and then of course, when you go into new market, you can then be able to keep expanding in the list because those people have lists. And you keep working their list and then their list and then their list, and the list becomes endless because of it. So I'll tell you a quick story, and it'll take me 2 minutes. I remember I was just starting a business, and the same thing happened to me. I ran out of warm market. I didn't have nobody to talk to. Everybody was like, I got to the point where I was part of the NFL, no friends left, right? Everybody's like, okay, David, what are you doing now? That kind of deal. Because I was always looking for opportunity and explaining opportunity to my warm market. So now I'm in a place where I have no warm market, and I had to go outside circle of development, long distance friends, long distance relative, ex-coworkers, ex-classmates, Facebook friends, social media friends. So I had to go in that list, and I had to create that list. So I was out and about, and at that time I was I was teaching Zumba, and I went to a Zumba event. And when I got to the Zumba event, I saw an old friend that was like, I haven't seen this guy in 17 years, long distance friends. And even then, when 17 years ago, he wasn't my friend, he was my sister's friend. So I talked to him and I said, let's call him Marcus. Hey, Marcus, how are you? And I started saying hi to him, and we started talking. He's like, who are you again? I'm like, I'm Jennifer's brother. Remember Sam Houston High School? And I started reminding him. He was like, oh, dude, how are you? I invited him out to lunch that time. Him and his wife and his daughter. We had a great conversation. I started talking. Then a week later, I messaged him, right? I'm building the relationship. I messaged him and I say, hey, what are you doing? He goes, hey, I'm in town. He said, oh yeah, I'm in town too. Hey, you want to meet up for lunch? He said, yes. We met up for lunch and we started talking. And when we started talking, we were just talking about life, catching up. And finally, I led the conversation. By asking questions. And I started asking about his bucket list. That's one thing I do. In fact, I do a lot. I do that a lot. One thing that I do, I get people to talk about their bucket list. I want people to talk about their dreams and goals, but I don't call it dreams and goals because people think it's cheesy, but bucket list is easy for people to talk about that. So I started talking about bucket list. He started giving me a bunch of stuff. Boom, 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 boom. Bucket list. After the meeting, he was in dreamland with us. After the lunch, he was in dreamland. And I said, hey, Marcus, listen, buddy. Man, all those things you talked to me about, and I share my bucket list too. If you find something in the future, I want you to tell me about it. He said, David, if you find something in the future for us to achieve our goals, I want you to tell me about it. I'm like, I will. A week later, I call him. I say, Marcus, I found something. and he joined the business. And from that individual, I think we put in like 20,000 people from that individual in the business, just from that one person. And that's another thing, guys. It only takes one person to change the business. That's why I tell people it makes no sense ever to give up. Makes no sense. You never know with that one person, especially with this comp plan, 30% check matching or 40% check matching on one person. That's silly. It's ridiculous. That's just silly. So that's it. To answer your question, Cameron, go into circle development. You can even talk to people you haven't talked to in 17 years and it still works. Mr. Ernesto, sir, I see your hand up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. So I was just kind of wanting to piggyback off of that gentleman that was talking about all those hours that he spent at work and having trouble.
Please. Let me give people a little bit of a background on you. Mr. Ernesto works for UPS. He works 15, 16 hours a day and still crushing and building this business. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So I won't be, I'll be brief, but, at first I figured at my job, it was just plethora, I have all these drivers I can hit up every morning and I can tell everybody about the business. And for sure, I did with a lot of them. But a lot of these guys are also in the same boat, they're working 60 hours a week and getting off at 11 or at midnight. And they're like, geez, when I have a day off, of course, all I want to do is just sit at home and be with my kids or do something extracurricular. So, it's, I've had to go outside my sphere of influence, like you were talking about. And, and it's not that they were unsuccessful talks per se with these people or unsuccessful exposures. They saw the opportunity, but they just couldn't see having any kind of time whatsoever to do this. I myself personally, I hustle all day. I don't take a lunch. And then I take my lunch at the end of the day when I get back to the center. And that's my time where I'm reaching out. I'm reaching out during that entire hour, and then I'm still reaching out on my way home, another 40-minute drive home. So you and it's like, well, who's up at that time? Well, it's like I don't personally know anybody that I can reach out to in my sphere of influence at that time, really. So what is my strategy been right now is people who I've already brought into the organization that actually have friends that are night owls, friends that are in college, friends that have a completely different schedule than mine. I'm able to reach out to them because they're up and they're up till like 3 a.m. So you just have to be able to find that group of people. And like you said, reaching out to people who, who are going to promote you, might not be the people closest to you, but it could be people that are close to other people who are under you already. So just food for thought there. And I love today's presentation. I love all that information. I really do. That's something that I would love to do, mass exposures, try to get it out to 20, 30 people. I really want to start working on that. So, we'll have to strategize on that here pretty soon because I would love that. You're right. One at a time, it's cool, but oh my goodness, it is, 20 times that with the same effort, of course, it's a no-brainer, obviously. I was going to say something else. Think, Ernesto. Lost my train of thought there. Anyway, if it comes to me, I'll raise my hand again. If not, you have a great day, and let's get back with each other a little later on today.
Absolutely. Great job, Ernesto. And one of the things that Ernesto is talking about, again, that's the process. You're adjusting, right? My goal is from get to point A to point B. Great. The process will reveal my adjustments that I have to make. And some people were PBR, some people would do that. I saw Angel Cuevas raise his hand. Angel, was that an accident, or was that something you wanted to actually say something? All right, we'll keep moving. Miss Lori, I see your hand up.
Okay, so I want to piggyback on something that Ernesto said, because being in Hawaii with Stuart Stan, yes, we're spoiled because we have a center, but imagine if the center were anywhere. If it were a room in somebody else's house, if it was the front reception room of a restaurant that a friend owns, or that an influencer knows somebody that owns, and you have 2 or 3 people that you've talked to that want to invite people to a Zoom, and you have a couple of people. Once you've got 1 or 2 people and you start telling people, oh, I have something going on at 2 p.m. at my house, you can Zoom in if you want. We end up having 15, 20 people that are some mashup of all different influencers, prospects. And don't be afraid to mix people in together, and just set a time for one person and then start promoting that. That wasn't really a question, but that inspired me to think about that, because, my living room, I had 3 people in my living room the other day, and I just started talking. I drove Uber. I had 4 people in the back seat. I gave him my phone, my other phone, and I put on Danny Bay, and I said, here, watch this. And that's who the demo is for next week. And this is, 8 months later, because I did the same thing. I said, hey, I found something really good. So when I saw him yesterday, he said, now you're just teasing me. Come on and demo me. Come on. So yeah, building that up and just making your own, get one person and then just start building on that. And even if all those other people say, nah, this time, they'll have been to one of your promos, to one of your events. They'll have heard a little bit about it. The next time you see them or talk to them, you can go, oh, remember that? I'm really doing good. So
I love it.
thank
Love it.
you.
Lori, and also in principle, my friends, in principle, when you get one person, that person knows at least 5 contacts that you can reach out to right away. I like VIP 20, but 5 contacts right away, you can expose the business, you can expose the product. At least 5. People, everybody has. If you really try, I think we can all agree that everybody has at least 5. Okay, so in principle, we should never run out of people to talk to, because after 5 or 10 exposures, you're gonna get one more. And that one person has 5 to 10 more exposures, and then that all of a sudden it keeps duplicating. And every time you get one person, that person's list just got added to your list of people to expose the business to and expose the product to. So in principle, we should never run out of people to talk to. And that comes through experience, though, my friends. I just want you to know that experience is what creates the ability. And we might, maybe one day we'll have Mr. Michael on do a tap rooting training, or he's one of the best in the world. Mr. Danny Bay as well. And that way you can see that's a little more advanced training, but it's definitely something to learn. All right, my friends, we got 1 minute left, and one more question. Probably time for one more question before we close the call. 1 more minute. All right, great. Well, that helps. People are saying it. Good, great tips, everybody. All right, my friends. So let's go out there and make it happen. Let's go out there and schedule those PBRs, Zoom PBRs. Let's create these exposures. Remember what we're talking about right now. And this recording, we'll go ahead and post it for everybody today, most likely in the chat of the Telegram chat. The Telegram chat, we'll post it there for all of you to have. and you'll be able to have access to this and be able to share it with other people. Have a great day, guys. Have a great week. Let's promote. Let's remember tonight, 7 o'clock. We have a presentation every day this week, and let's promote and let's get everybody over to the trainings today and excuse me, to the presentations that we have today as well throughout the week and as well for Saturday training. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.